Rabbit Hole Roundup, episode 98. LeBron and the Lakers are back. So guys, in this week's edition of the Rabbit Hole Roundup, of course we have my favorite team, the Lakers, back at full strength, as LeBron James is now back for his 23rd season, trying to complete the whole fit alongside Luka and Austin Reaves. But of course we'll be covering the NBA as well as Week 12 NFL recap later on in the episode.
I can fit in with anybody. I don't even understand why that was even a question.
Also, for this week's episode, I found some really good topics, so I won't be doing any top 5 lists this week. And I do think every so often I may take a week off from that, so that this way when I do have that list, it's always going to be more special. However, I will try to have that segment as often as possible because I know how much you guys like that, and also it's fun for me to make those lists. But I'll be starting this episode with reviewing the latest MLB players who are eligible for this year's Hall of Fame.
Babe Ruth! The Great Bambino!
Is this year's list just like the Hall of Really Good, as I'm seeing some people out there saying? Or are there some noteworthy ones? Also, what do we do with the whole steroid era players? Because on the one hand, you can't tell the story of baseball without them, but there also does have to be punishments for cheating. Furthermore, I have a clip coming from one of my favorite artists, an awesome positive music artist, Andy Grammer, where he talks about the quickest way to find joy. Following that, I have a clip coming from one of my all-time favorite athletes and role models, Tim Tebow, where he talks about why he doesn't have to live with regret, as well as how to get over this whole fear of trying new things, even when it might be scary to you, or there's a possibility of you getting laughed at first. But as I always say, I'd rather get laughed at for doing the thing than being the person on the sidelines who's too afraid to try. And then just before diving into this week's sports recap, I actually have the perfect segue. So I have a clip coming from Gilbert Arenas, former NBA player, and now podcaster, where he says why you need to let your kids, and this also could be your teammates or it could be your players if you're a coach, why you need to let them know that missing shots is part of the game, and it's okay to mess up because doing this is actually going to let them play more freely. Anyways, without further ado, let's dive deeper into this week's rabbit hole now.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys know that, must mean now subscribe to the channel so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on the video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through It by Jared Weiss. All links purchased on my website, which is jaredryanweiss.com. That's JaredRyanWeiss.com. Buy the book, support me, and make sure to check out all those some shirts in there as well. Every shirt has been designed by me. Every shirt is made of 100% organic cotton. So any support at all, as I'm always saying, would be very much appreciated. So let's dive deeper into this rabbit hole now. So I want to start this episode off by reviewing the current list of Hall of Fame eligible players in the MLB. And is this year's list just like the Hall of Really Good? Or can we make a legit case for some of these guys?
Pretty good.
First up we have Ryan Braun. So had it not been for steroids, I would definitely have him in the Hall of Fame conversation. A lifetime 296 hitter with 352 career home runs, 5 All-Star appearances, and also an MVP in 13 seasons. Plus he also had 30 stolen bases a couple times, as well as 100 RBIs or more over 5 times. Then we have Shin-Soo Choo, another really solid player. Always a really good on-base guy, but he only had 1 All-Star appearance, so not putting him in that category. Edwin Encarnación, I think, was another Hall of really, really good player and amazing hitter. 400 plus career home runs, always known for his power. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he ever really played the field that much. He was a 3-time All-Star in Toronto, and had over 100 RBIs in 6 seasons. Gio Gonzalez, the former pitcher for the Nationals, was a 2-time All-Star, but I don't think he really cracked the upper echelon of pitchers. Now Cole Hamels, I do think you can make an argument for him. A 4-time All-Star who never won any Cy Youngs, but he had a career 3.43 ERA, with 1 season that was under 3. But I think what may set him apart is his playoff stats. He was 7-6 with a 3.41 ERA, and in 2008 he went 4-0 with a 1.80 ERA, and was named MVP of both the NLCS as well as the World Series. So could that be enough for him to get the nod? I would say so, but that's up to the voters. We have Howie Kendrick, another really solid player, but just a 1-time All-Star, never really much of a power hitter, never really had a ton of RBIs. So Hall of really solid, but not quite a Hall of Famer as far as I see it. Similar story with Nick Markakis, who was always a tremendous fielder, and he did win 3 Gold Glove awards, but just 1 All-Star appearance, so a really solid player who was fun to watch and always brought good energy, but I'm not sure if he's at Hall of Fame level. Now Daniel Murphy I think is an interesting one, because, of course, his insane playoff resume and his clutchness. So he does have a lifetime batting average of 296, which is, of course, really good, but like he never had more than 25 homers in a season, and just one season of over 100 RBIs. But he did have 2 consecutive seasons of hitting over 320, which is super impressive. However, his playoff stats took it to another level. In 25 games, his average was 309, with 8 home runs, 19 RBIs, and 21 runs, with a scorching hot OPS of 986. Plus, he had that incredible run in 2015, where he had 7 home runs and 19 total hits in just 14 games. So if the committee values playoffs above all, or if there was like separate Hall of Fame for playoff performers, he would totally make it. Matt Kemp, another really solid player. I'm not sure if he's like Hall of Fame worthy though. He did have 4 seasons of over 100 RBIs, and 1 season with 39 home runs. But if we're not putting Edwin Encarnación in, then I don't think that Matt Kemp should get in either. But it could be somewhat close maybe. Alex Gordon, the former Royal, another solid player who had 8 gold gloves in his career. So if we're talking only fielding, of course he was elite at that. However, I'm not sure if his hitting numbers classify him as like a step above. Next, we have Hunter Pence, a 4-time All-Star, who I always remember as being like a really good player for the Astros, as well as the Giants too. He does have several seasons over 90 RBIs and a career batting average of 279, so maybe is there a case you could make there? He was also always in the playoffs just about like every year, and he won 2 World Series with the Giants, and I definitely remember him having some like super clutch playoff performances, so I think maybe there's a case there when you combine playoffs and World Series, and his regular season stats too. There could be an argument there, maybe. And finally, Rick Porcello. He does have that one Cy Young season back in 2016, where during that year he went 22-4. But aside from that, he does have several seasons over a 4 ERA, so a solid career but not Hall of Fame worthy in my opinion. And now for the top holdovers from last year's ballot. You have Carlos Beltran, who of course was tied into the whole Astros sign stealing scandal. That's a real tongue twister. But taking that out, he was a 9-time All-Star, 435 career home runs, high slugging percentage, high OPS, and a 3-time Gold Glove winner. And he had 8 seasons with over 100 RBIs. This guy was always one of the best and most consistent hitters in all of baseball. So I think he totally belongs in the Hall of Fame. And I also think Andrew Jones belongs in there as well. A 5-time All-Star, always one of the premier hitters in all of baseball, as well as a 10-time Gold Glove winner. So if we do want to value all parts of the game, this guy definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And now you have the age-old question, which isn't going away anytime soon. What do we do with all the steroid-era players? Because there's so many of them who have insane stats. And also, how do you tell the story of baseball without them? I mean, I've definitely seen way too many stats over the years of Barry Bonds being by far the best hitter of all time. And you also have Roger Clemens as one of the best pitchers of all time. But I'm also someone who hates cheaters, and there definitely were a lot of them. I'm someone who always tries to do things the right way. So if you're a player like me who does that, how would you feel about these guys getting in? Now, I don't think you can keep them out forever, especially because basically all of them were doing it at that time, and of course it doesn't make it right. But I'm still not sure, like, how do you solve this problem? Do you make a second Hall of Fame? Or do you have like an asterisk Hall of Fame?
It's not different, it's the same, just changed.
Do any of you guys have any ideas of how to handle this? If so, let me know in the comments down below. Next up, I have a clip coming from one of my all-time favorite music artists, Andy Grammer, who, fun fact, I actually got to talk to him in front of 1,000+ people at one of his concerts last year. He's an awesome guy, super nice, super positive, and so of course I'm a huge fan of his music as well as like his overall message and outlook on life. But so this clip is about the quickest way to find joy. Let's watch together.
The quickest way to find joy that I have found.
What are some ways people can find joy in their daily life?
Quickest way to find joy that I have found is to be of service to other people. Like, think in your head what you could do for somebody else, whether it could be as simple as calling someone to cheer them on or to give them a pep talk or to congratulate them on anything in their lives, or get out of your own self and you think of a lot of the really good ones are like major milestones for people. If one of your friends is getting married, if someone's lost someone that's passed away, if a friend has someone that their kids went to school for the first time, look for any milestones and then like go drop something off for them, give them a call, be of service to someone else, and watch how quickly you feel better. It works every time.
So, super well said and like an amazing suggestion. Because whenever you're being of service, this doesn't just make the other person feel good, but you feel good too because you contributed to amplifying their happiness. I mean, how great does it feel like whenever you put a smile on someone's face, or you make someone laugh because of something you did or something like you said? How does it feel when you lift someone's spirits or brighten their day just by putting your arm around them or giving them a whole perspective shift when they were going through a rough time? And as I would say, being of service and making someone feel good doesn't require any money or gifts. It can be as simple as asking someone how their day is and giving them attention like and actually listening to them. It could be as simple as like that high five or dap that you give someone.
Afternoon, my octoroon. Come on, bring it in there. Tuck that.
Yeah, I'm in there, dog. I'm in there, dog.
I know that for me, so often I smile after I do that, or every time someone else does that to me. It's super simple, but like it definitely works. Giving someone encouragement after they failed a lift at the gym, or even just doing your job to the best of its ability. I believe that me sharing my awesome positive perspectives and posts, and everything I do in my podcast, are all part of me being of service to others, which is why it always feels so good whenever someone else out there acknowledges this and tells me that like I said exactly what they needed to hear. See, so there are numerous ways to make someone's day, or to make someone feel valued, and most of the time it doesn't require anything elaborate or any money involved. It's just simply about asking yourself, what can I do to put a smile on someone else's face, make them feel good about themselves, and be of service to them? Because all that positive energy that you give out will come back around, I believe. Moving ahead, I have a clip coming from one of my favorite people to follow, as well as like one of my all-time favorite athletes, Tebow. So in this clip, he talks about why he doesn't live with regret and going after and trying new things.
One of the things that I just really believe in is that when you feel a pricking of your heart and a passion for something, I don't believe the worst thing is striving and failing. I believe the worst thing is doing nothing and then living with regret of what if. And so I've really tried in a lot of areas and fallen short many times, but tried in a lot of areas to pursue it and sometimes succeed and sometimes fail. But at least you could leave and say, you know what, I gave it a really good effort.
So Tebow actually has one of my all-time favorite examples, which is also one that like I discussed in my book Fight Through It. Now he's someone who practices what he preaches. He's not just all talk but no action. So when it comes to this whole concept of not living with regret, he was a pro football player turned baseball player who wanted to embark on this journey in spite of the massive challenge, and afterwards he even tried to come back to the NFL as a tight end. And one time when he was asked what it would be like trying to play a new sport professionally, he said that people will say, what if you fail? What if you don't make it? Guess what? I don't have to live with that regret. I would rather be someone who can live with peace and not regret than being so scared that like I didn't make the effort. So yes, failing can suck in the moment, disappointment is never fun, but you know what's way worse than that? The regret that you have to live with when it comes to not trying and having all these what ifs left on the table. What if I actually went for it? What if I believed in myself just a little bit more? What if I actually tried that thing? And I've dealt with people laughing at my dreams and mocking me, basically for my whole life as an athlete, as an aspiring 5'6" dunker, now as an author and a content creator. But all those people are on the sidelines while I'm doing my thing and going after my dreams. I'm leaving it all out there and going full force, so this way I'll never have to live with the regret of saying what if. And that's also why I know I'm achieving way more than all the people who are on the sidelines making fun of me. Those people aren't even in the arena while I'm out here doing my thing. Now finally, before we get into this week's sports recap, although of course this clip is going to segue perfectly into that, so we have former NBA player, now podcaster, Gilbert Arenas, who of course sometimes can be a clown, but he does say some really good things too in my opinion. So here he talks about why missing shots is part of the game.
You don't want your kid to think missing shots is something bad. No, that's part of the game. You're gonna miss shots. You're gonna make shots. You're gonna miss layups. You're gonna make crazy layups. You're gonna miss fast break layups. You're gonna miss an easy three. You're gonna make a difficult three. It's part of the game. The only thing that changes is the emotion. You know, you miss 3 shots, either your emotion is gonna make you miss another 12, or it's gonna turn it around and you're gonna ball out. You know, so I try to, tell them like, listen, if I can give you the blueprint to the games, you're gonna have a game where you're 9-9 in the first half, 0-9 in the second half. To be honest, that's a great game. You're gonna start off 0 for 10, and you're gonna be 5 for 5 or 10 for 10 in the second half and hit the game winner. You're going to miss every shot, hit the game winner. You're going to make every shot, miss the game winner. That is the game. You know, being balanced through it is what the real secret is.
So true and like so well said. So he's absolutely right here. And this is why, being a lifelong player myself who's always run off of confidence, some teams I was on I was scoring 20 a game, while others I was scoring just like 2 a game. But what actually changed here? Did my whole skill set suddenly diminish? Or did I just like get worse overnight? Or was it that like my coach and teammates were different, and the best ones were creating an environment where I felt like it was safe and okay to mess up? Since I'm a highly sensitive person, it always got to me no matter how hard I tried to stop it. But whenever I would be on a team and like I would miss a shot, and after I miss I see my teammates shaking their heads, or sometimes yell at me to pass them the ball, or I also had several coaches who would take me out after every mistake, which of course was the worst for my confidence. That's not constructive. It just makes me more hesitant to shoot. And sometimes having a million voices in my head, whether from my dad or my coach or my teammates, it wasn't easy of course. But every time I felt comfortable playing for a coach or with teammates, it was always the ones who I felt comfortable making mistakes with. Because by allowing me to make mistakes, I was also able to have the most success as well. So if you are the teammate or parent or coach, remember that penalizing every mistake or yelling at your kid for every miss doesn't magically make the next shot go in. Chances are you're actually teaching them that making mistakes is bad and that they should never try anything new, and this goes for sports or in life. Missed shots and mistakes are part of the game, and they're a huge part of the path to success. You don't get there by doing everything perfectly, so try your best to create an environment where it's okay and safe to mess up, because even though it might sound crazy to some of you, this will actually give everyone more confidence, and everyone's going to play much better as a result. Anyways, on to this week's sports recap, NBA and NFL, let's go now. So let's start things off with the hottest topic in sports for some reason, Shedeur Sanders. So of course you have one side claiming that like he's the best thing since sliced bread, and the other side who's saying like he still sucks. Now the overarching problem like that I find is that it's almost impossible to say anything honest about how he does, because no matter what I say it's going to get taken the wrong way. If you listen to the way the sports media covers him, it seems almost as if like everyone who's part of that has been paid to say that he can do no wrong and he's the best quarterback ever, and anyone who disagrees with that is like a racist. And of course everyone on Twitter has been pushed into the whole race war too. And as you know by now, I'm always looking for ways to highlight the good. But if we can't have an honest talk about a player without race getting involved, then like these talking heads have essentially ruined the whole conversation. And honestly, these guys make it hard for us to root for some players. And the way I see it, this is like exactly what the people at the top want. And yet so many people still fall for it, and so many people play right into the whole division. And it's sad because like he's not a victim, and he can be a very good player, I believe, as long as we're able to acknowledge all aspects of him. I think like some of these Shedeur Sanders stands might end up leading to his downfall, because whenever you're above correction, or when it turns into a whole you must like him and root for him or else you're a racist, well then he's never going to be able to humble himself. And the reason why humility is important is because it allows you to make room for improvement. It's possible to be both confident and humble at the same time. Now also, Shedeur Sanders does bring a lot of the attention on himself. He of course loves the attention, and don't tell me like his actions are all typical, and whether you like it or not, I think that's like personal preference. And this is also like a big reason why I've defended Bronny, because I don't think Bronny brought it on himself. Of course you could say like his dad did, but it's like every time Bronny plays 5 minutes of a bad game, and then you have Stephen A. Smith going live on national TV, pleading to his dad to like take him out of the NBA. And people rarely talk about his good games. Shedeur though in his first game was 4 of 16, and everyone was talking about like how much potential he has. When you're not allowed to be honest, he just thinks like he's invincible. I said it last week, but I'll say it again. I'm all for confidence, because confidence comes across as genuine and authentic. That's how I used to feel about Kobe Bryant when he would talk, and even like Jalen Hurts how he talks these days. But cockiness, on the other hand, feels fake and is an unattractive quality in my opinion. So anyone out there who says like the reason why people don't want to root for him is because he's black, I don't think any of these people like actually believe that. And it's like the whole narrative that's being pushed by bots on Twitter. But it's like, no, that's not the reason. It's because he does and says a lot of things that show him to not be a true leader. Now I do think he can develop into one. So now that we got all that out of the way, let's talk about the game itself and how multiple things can be true at once. So first off, Shedeur threw some great deep balls. and yet he still does have like some glaring holes in his game when it comes to stepping up in the pocket. For his first start, he played very solid and showed a lot of potential, but it was also against the Raiders. He was 11 for 20 with 209 and a touchdown and a pick, but if you looked at Twitter and listened to the old sports media, you would think like he threw for 500 yards and had 4 touchdown passes. All I'm saying is like when Dylan Gabriel threw 2 touchdowns in his first game, I didn't see this kind of talk. And of course, I do believe like Shedeur is definitely a better player than Gabriel most likely. He's more physically gifted than Dylan. But Dylan also took a ton of flack, as of course Flacco did too, and a lot of it was like unnecessary in my opinion. But we have to look at everything. And that's if we want him to succeed. You're not helping him out if you only say like his next Tom Brady after just like one game. Now honestly, the biggest story in this game should be that like Myles Garrett is arguably the best player in all of football. And the Browns had 10 sacks as a team. Myles Garrett has 6 games left to get the record, and has been unreal all season terrorizing quarterbacks. On the other side of the ball, the Raiders of course dropped another one, and they also fired Chip Kelly the other day. I actually like Geno Smith. I know of course he's having a very rough season, but I do like his whole comeback story and like his whole late career surge, and he still has like one of the strongest arms in all of football. But the Raiders have not looked good at all this season. The Chiefs somehow pulled off a crucial win against the Colts. Super late in that game, of course. I heard someone say the other day, like, the Colts should have traded for a top receiver instead of Sauce Gardner, and maybe that could be the case. Daniel Jones actually played a solid game as he had 2 more touchdown passes, and Mahomes didn't play great again, but in the Colts losses, that team doesn't score over 20 points, so that team of course looks unstoppable in their wins, but has shown some holes whenever Jonathan Taylor isn't able to go for like 130 or 203 touchdowns. In another late game comeback win, the Lions took down the Giants, who keep falling apart in the fourth quarter of every game. Now shout out to Jameis Winston, one of my favorite quarterback personalities. He played a hell of a game, as he threw for 366, 2 touchdown passes, and also had a touchdown reception too. He made some beautiful throws to Wan'Dale Robinson, but Jahmyr Gibbs on the other side has been chomping at the bit for best running back in the NFL. He's coming for that top spot as he ran for 219 and had 3 total touchdowns in this game. And Goff also threw for 279 and 2 touchdown passes of his own. And another upsetting loss for me. Flacco and the Bengals came up just short yet again against the Patriots this time. Now I hope like this isn't Flacco's final start of his career. He's a true class act and someone who's so easy to root for. He played this game without Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins got hurt at the end. And yes, I know he threw a bad pick 6, as did Drake May too. But he did come back and play well at the end. And all this has been while dealing with a shoulder sprain, which is clearly still bothering him. He's given Cincinnati his all, and his run, although it hasn't led to wins, should be celebrated. He gave that team a chance to win every single week, so he threw another nice touchdown pass to Tinsley, the rookie, and Chase Brown had a big day on the ground. And also there were some crucial missed pass interference calls in my opinion at the end of that game, but the Patriots got their 10th win of the season. My favorite team, the Green Bay Packers, got a seemingly easy win against the Vikings. Emmanuel Wilson stepped in for Josh Jacobs and ran for 107 and had 2 touchdown runs, while McCarthy had another rough game with 2 picks and no touchdown passes. Now as you know, I'm not someone who likes to tear players down. That's just like not my style. And I do believe like anyone's story can change at any point. But I do see a lot of people out there having their doubts about McCarthy and what his career ceiling actually is. And he's definitely been struggling. I will say though that like it looks like a big mistake that the Vikings get rid of Sam Darnold this offseason. Who, speaking of which, his Seahawks moved to 8-3. As they got the win over the Titans, and Darnold had another 2 touchdown passes to JSN, who's been like the best receiver all season. He's currently up to over 1,300 receiving yards through 11 games right now, which is like insane pace. Now next up, I want to shout out one of my other favorite quarterbacks, who's trying for his own bounce back story, Kirk Cousins. He had a great game this week for Atlanta, and I know of course just like against the Saints, but he had a beautiful deep ball throw to Darnell Mooney, and had 2 passing touchdowns in this game. And I've been saying it over the past few weeks, he's someone like who just has to rebuild his confidence, I think. I believe that Kirk has still got it. The Cowboys had an insane comeback win against the Eagles, and I love the clip I've been seeing going around social media of Elijah Clark forcing the fumble that ultimately led to the Cowboys' game-winning drive. And of course, Dak and Pickens connected for a big touchdown. And on the other side of the ball, Jalen Hurts played a terrific game. He wasn't the problem here. He had 3 total touchdowns, and A.J. Brown had a big game too. The Cowboys moved to 500. I don't get that team. One week that team looks horrible, and the next the team is beating the defending champs. This year's clear-cut choice for MVP as of right now, Matthew Stafford, had another big game. He threw for another 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. 2 of those were to Devontae Adams, who's become a touchdown machine there. Stafford has been by far the most consistent quarterback all season, and if I'm not mistaken, he's 25 touchdowns since his last interception he threw. Unfortunately, Baker got hurt for the Bucs, but Stafford has that offense absolutely humming, and that team has been my Super Bowl dark horse team from the start of the season. The Texans and Davis Mills got another win against the Bills this week, who've been a very inconsistent team this year. Do the Bills rely too much on Josh Allen to become Superman every week? James Cook had a big game on the ground, but the Texans defense has been one of the top teams all season. Interesting game though, and Davis Mills goes 3-0 this year, starting in place of CJ Stroud. Another confusing team from this year, the Jaguars got a win in overtime against the Cardinals, who seem to be in every game every week, and that team has been super competitive in spite of a horrible record, of course. Now Trevor Lawrence, I just don't get him. He has all the physical gifts a QB needs, and yet he still makes all these really bad decisions. But yet his team is winning, and he's either hit or miss. He's 7-4 right now, but we'll see if those dangerous passes do catch up to him in the playoffs. The Ravens beat the Jets in an ugly game that could have gone the other way. Lamar didn't have a great game again, but King Henry made up for that as he had 2 rushing touchdowns in this one. And that team sits first in their division, just as I predicted a few weeks ago. Then we have the Bears, a team who I haven't believed in all season, but that team continues to win and I don't get it. Yes, I do have to give credit to Caleb Williams. He's been playing well, as has his defense, but I'm still not sure if I buy them. I can see them losing it at the end of the season and going on a losing streak, but I will also be the first to say if that team proves me wrong. And finally, on Monday night, the 49ers got a much needed win against the Panthers to stay in that tight division race and playoff race. The Niners moved to 8-4, despite a super rough first half from Brock Purdy through 3 first half picks. But Christian McCaffrey had another big game as he ran for 89 yards and had another 53 receiving, and a touchdown against his old team, the Panthers. And Bryce Young couldn't keep up his magic from last week, as the Panthers were unable to capitalize on that division opportunity, especially with the Bucs loss. Next up, let's get into some NBA talk. So out west, the LA Lakers, my favorite team, have got it going on right now. They're currently 12-4, and LeBron, who might be playing at 50% at the moment, has been showing off his playmaking ability and is back to dunking the ball. Now, of course, it's just been a couple of games, but game 1 he had 11 points, 12 assists, and game 2 it was 17, 8, and 6. Of course, he's not only going to be taking under 10 shots, as he did in game 1, that's not going to be sustainable for him, but he is still ramping things up. I don't see though why he can't fit into everything the Lakers have been doing up to this point. I think he's just going to amplify them. He's not just a pure scorer. In fact, that's actually never been the strongest part of his game. He has always been one of the best playmakers and passers in NBA history though. And he has one of the best basketball IQs. Pair that with another best basketball IQ in Luka Doncic, who's looking super healthy and has been cooking for the Lakers, and he currently leads the NBA at over 34 points a game. He just plays his own pace and is always under control. Aiden has been everything that team needed last year. Now my only hope is that Austin Reaves keeps it going at his all-star pace. We can't let him take a back seat, even if some games that may mean him playing second fiddle or even first fiddle at times. I like what I'm seeing from the Lakers right now. Plus defensively there is actually an upgrade this year, as of course now you have a solid paint protector in DeAndre Ayton, and Marcus Smart, who's been playing really well too. Now another awesome game that I watched over the weekend was Denver Nuggets versus the Houston Rockets. This game felt like a 7-game playoff series we're going to see in the future. Denver moves the ball so well with Jokic as the focal point, and it sucks that Aaron Gordon got hurt again, but that team's bench has been looking way better this year, with Tim Hardaway Jr. as well as Bruce Brown coming off it. And then of course you have Valanciunas, who's backing up the Joker too. And I also really like Houston as well. I like what KD brings to that team. Şengün's been getting better every season. That team also has some really solid athletic wings who could shoot, whether it's Jabari Smith or also Amen Thompson, who of course is an incredible defender too. Plus the team gets every single offensive rebound with Steven Adams. Both teams are super tough. The only question is, could either team take down OKC this year? Some other great things I want to highlight out west are James Harden has been cooking all year. He's been playing some of his best basketball as he had a 55-point game over the weekend. And I also love his quarterback ball his life. The Suns have been a surprisingly good team this year. Dylan Brooks, despite his antics, is actually a winning player, I think. Wherever he goes, he seems to reinvigorate that team. And plus he's been putting up numbers on offense. Don't forget, he was almost out of the NBA a few years ago. And one more player out west who I want to give a shout out to, Caleb Love. I saw it last year in college when he was at Arizona. He could score really well and has super confidence in himself. And I just hope the Blazers stick with him. Yes, of course he's a bit streaky, he's going to have his bad shooting games and also his incredible ones too. but if that team sticks with him, I see him as having a solid future in the NBA. Now next up in the East, the Detroit Pistons are for real. Cade Cunningham, yes, he takes a lot of shots, but so far it's led that team to 13 straight wins at the time of filming. He's putting up 27 a game, almost 10 assists, and 6 rebounds a game. My guy Tobias Harris has returned recently. I actually played for his dad's AAU team back in high school, but he seems to be fitting in right where he left off before the injury. Jalen Duren has probably been like that team's biggest surprise, and has taken a massive leap in his improvement, as he's averaging 20 and 11 while shooting 67% from the field. Is that team capable of keeping it up? We'll see. But of course, we did see the team improving at the end of last season and into the playoffs. That team is built for toughness, which of course bodes well in the playoffs. Next, another team who's been going under the radar and has been having a ton of early season success is the Toronto Raptors. That team is currently up to 13 and 5. Brandon Ingram has been balling. He's always been like an underrated star in my opinion. Not a superstar, but like a player who could consistently average 20 a game and do it so effortlessly. He put up 37 the other night against the Cavaliers, and his averages are currently up to 21, 6, and 5. Plus, you also have the can-do-it-all point forward in Scotty Barnes, who's having another great season, putting up 20, 8, and 5, and RJ Barrett has been playing well too. That team has some really good athletic young pieces, and might be ahead of schedule. We'll see though whether or not it lasts. Now also some quick baseball talk. Why did the Mets trade Brandon Nimmo? I mean, I get Marcus Semien is a solid defender, but you had a good defender in Brandon Nimmo, who's been on the rise the past few years. He hit 25 home runs last year. He's only been getting better. I don't get that. The only reason why that would make sense is if the Mets know they're going to get Cody Bellinger. But the thing is, you had a solid outfielder right there in Nimmo. I'm not sure what the Mets' plan was there. Anyways, that's your sports recap for the week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get back to the video now. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the topics. Let me know your thoughts on how I did in the comments below. If you guys liked the video, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding. Catch you next time. Peace.